I know you're worried. You've seen the headlines. You've scrolled through the posts. 75 countries facing a visa ban. Your heart dropped. Maybe you're from one of those countries. Maybe your family is. Maybe you've been planning to travel, to study, to reunite with loved ones, and now you're asking yourself if everything just changed overnight. I understand that fear. I understand the sleepless nights when you read something alarming and don't know what's real anymore. But here's what I want you to know right now, before we go any further. Take a breath, because what's being shared online and what's actually happening in immigration law are two very different things. And today, we're going to separate the rumors from the reality, the panic from the facts, so you can make informed decisions about your future with clarity and confidence. Let me start by saying this as clearly as possible. There is no sweeping visa ban affecting 75 countries that has been signed into law and is currently being enforced. None. What you're seeing circulating on social media, what's being shared in WhatsApp groups, what's making people panic in the middle of the night, is a mixture of proposed ideas, draft policy discussions, speculation, political rhetoric, and in some cases, outright misinformation. And I say this not to dismiss your concerns, because your concerns are valid. When you're an immigrant, when you're a visa holder, when your entire life depends on legal status in a country that isn't where you were born, every headline feels personal. Every rumor feels like a threat. But part of my job, part of why this channel exists, is to help you understand what's actually enforceable law and what's just noise. So let's talk about where this 75-country visa ban claim actually comes from. In recent months, there have been discussions, particularly in the United States, about revising visa policies, updating security screening procedures, and reviewing which countries are subject to additional vetting for visa applicants. Some of these discussions have been public, some have been part of internal policy reviews, some have been proposals floated by political figures or advocacy groups. And yes, in some cases, lists of countries have been mentioned. But here's what you need to understand about how immigration law actually works. A discussion is not a law. A proposal is not a law. A draft document circulating among policymakers is not a law. Even an executive order, which can be issued more quickly than legislation, still has to go through legal review, implementation processes, and in many cases, court challenges before it takes effect. Immigration laws in democratic countries do not change overnight. They follow processes. In the United States, for example, major changes to visa policy typically require either an act of Congress, which means it has to pass the House of Representatives, pass the Senate, and be signed by the President, or they require an executive action that must be legally justified, published in the Federal Register, and implemented by agencies like the Department of State and the Department of Homeland Security. In Canada, immigration policy changes go through similar governmental processes. In the United Kingdom, changes to visa rules are debated in Parliament and must follow established legal frameworks. In Australia, the Department of Home Affairs must follow specific procedures before any visa category is modified or restricted. These are not things that happen because of a social media post or even because of a single speech by a politician. Now, let me address what has actually been happening. There have been ongoing reviews of visa reciprocity agreements, meaning if a country makes it difficult for Americans, Canadians, British, or Australian citizens to get visas, those countries may review whether to impose similar restrictions. There have been discussions about enhanced security screening for visa applicants from countries where identity verification is difficult, or where there are concerns about document fraud. There have been policy papers written about updating the criteria for visa waiver programs, which allow citizens of certain countries to travel without obtaining a visa in advance. All of this is normal. All of this is part of how countries manage their borders and immigration systems. But none of this is the same as a blanket ban on 75 countries. Let me also clarify something that causes a lot of confusion. When you see a list of countries mentioned in immigration policy discussions, that list might be about different things. It might be about countries whose citizens need to go through additional interview procedures. It might be about countries where visa processing times are longer because of the need for more thorough background checks. It might be about countries that are not currently eligible for certain visa categories or programs. But being on a list for enhanced screening is not the same as being banned. Being subject to additional documentation requirements is not the same as being banned. Having longer processing times is frustrating, absolutely, but it's not the same as a ban. So what should you actually be paying attention to? What are the real, concrete things that affect your immigration status or your ability to travel? First, if you currently hold a valid visa to the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, Australia, or any other country, that visa remains valid unless it is specifically revoked by the issuing government, which is an extremely rare action that happens only in cases of fraud or serious legal violations. Your valid visa does not suddenly become invalid because of online rumors. Second, if you are a permanent resident or green card holder, your status is protected by law and cannot be arbitrarily taken away. Permanent residence is exactly what it sounds like. It's permanent, unless you abandon it by living outside the country for extended periods, or unless it's revoked through a formal legal process, which again requires evidence of fraud or serious criminal activity. Third, if you are a citizen of any country, you have the right to enter and remain in that country. Citizenship is the highest form of legal protection. It cannot be taken away except in extraordinary circumstances involving terrorism, treason, or fraud in the naturalization process, and even then, it requires a full legal proceeding. This is why I consistently tell viewers on this channel that if you are eligible to apply for citizenship, you should seriously consider it. Not because temporary status or permanent residence aren't valuable, they absolutely are, but because citizenship gives you the strongest possible legal protection against policy changes, against shifting political winds, against uncertainty. Now, what about people who are in the process of applying for visas or who are planning to apply? This is where things get more nuanced, and this is where you need to pay very careful attention to official sources. If you are applying for a visa, the requirements that matter are the requirements that are officially published on the government website of the country you're applying to at the time you submit your application. In the United States, that's the Department of State website. In Canada, it's the Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada website. In the UK, it's the gov.uk immigration section. In Australia, it's the Department of Home Affairs website. These are your sources of truth, not Facebook, not Twitter, not TikTok, not forwarded messages, not even news articles that don't cite official government sources. If you're watching this video because you're worried about whether you can still apply for a visa, here's what you should do. Go to the official government website for the country you want to travel to or immigrate to. Look up the specific visa category you're interested in. Read the current requirements. If those requirements are within your ability to meet, proceed with your application. If you're unsure about anything, if something seems complicated, if you're not certain whether you qualify, consult with a licensed immigration attorney or a regulated immigration consultant. Do not rely on advice from unqualified people, even if they mean well. Immigration law is complex, and small mistakes in applications can lead to delays, denials, or even future problems with your immigration history. Let me also address something I see happening constantly in immigrant communities, and I say this with love and respect because I understand why it happens. When people are scared, when people are uncertain, they turn to their communities for information. They ask in group chats. They listen to friends who heard something from someone else. They watch videos from people who present themselves as experts but have no actual credentials. And this is how misinformation spreads like wildfire. Someone sees a draft proposal, doesn't understand that it's just a draft, shares it as if it's law. Someone hears a politician talk about being tough on immigration, assumes that means immediate policy changes, and spreads panic. Someone sees a list of countries in a context they don't fully understand and concludes that all those countries are banned. And within hours, millions of people are terrified based on something that isn't even true. This is exactly what happened with the 75-country visa ban rumor. Somewhere, someone saw a document, a list, a proposal, something that was taken out of context, and it spread. And now, people from countries all over the world, people who have valid visas, people who are legal permanent residents, people who have lived peacefully and lawfully in their adopted countries for years, are suddenly afraid that they're going to be kicked out, that their families will be separated, that their lives will be destroyed. And it's not happening. It's just not happening the way the rumors suggest. But here's what I also want you to understand. Just because this specific rumor isn't true doesn't mean immigration policies never change. They do change. Governments do update their visa policies. Requirements do get more stringent sometimes. Processing times do increase. This is the reality of living in a world where immigration is a political issue, where security concerns are real, where countries balance openness with control. So what can you do to protect yourself and your family in this environment of uncertainty and constant change? Number 1, stay informed through official channels. Bookmark the official immigration website for the country where you live or want to live. Check it regularly. Sign up for email updates if they offer them. If you have questions, contact the official immigration authorities directly or through their authorized channels. Number 2, maintain your legal status meticulously. If you're on a visa, follow every single condition of that visa. Don't overstay by even 1 day. Don't work without authorization. Don't violate any of the terms. Keep copies of all your immigration documents. Keep records of your entries and exits from the country. Keep proof of your address, your employment, your ties to the community. These things matter if you ever need to prove your legal status or apply for a benefit. Number 3, if you're eligible to upgrade your status, do it. If you're on a temporary work visa and you're eligible to apply for permanent residence, start that process. If you're a permanent resident and you're eligible for citizenship, seriously consider applying. Every step up the ladder of immigration status gives you more security, more rights, more protection. Number 4, consult with qualified professionals when you're making important immigration decisions. I cannot stress this enough. Immigration attorneys, regulated immigration consultants, accredited representatives, these are the people who can give you advice specific to your situation. They know the law, they understand the processes, they can help you avoid costly mistakes. Yes, it costs money to hire a professional, but it's an investment in your future and your family's future. Number 5, be very, very careful about what you believe and what you share on social media. Before you panic, before you forward that alarming message to your family group chat, before you make a major life decision based on something you saw online, verify it. Check the official government source. Look for reporting from reputable news organizations that cite official sources. Ask a qualified professional. Don't let fear make you act impulsively. I want to take a moment to speak directly to those of you who are feeling scared right now. You came to a new country with hopes and dreams. You work hard. You follow the rules. You pay your taxes. You contribute to your communities. You're raising your children to be good citizens. You're building a life. And then you see a headline that makes you feel like all of that could be taken away in an instant. I want you to know that your fear is understandable, but I also want you to know that the immigration system, for all its flaws and all its challenges, does have processes and protections. It's not perfect. It can be frustrating. It can be slow. But it's not arbitrary chaos, despite what viral rumors might suggest. The vast majority of people who follow the rules, who maintain their legal status, who fulfill the requirements of their visas or their permanent residence, are not in danger of suddenly being banned or deported because of their country of origin. The vast majority of visa applications that are properly prepared and properly documented are approved. The vast majority of permanent residents who meet the requirements successfully become citizens. The system works for millions of people every year, but you don't hear about those success stories as often as you hear about the scary rumors and the worst-case scenarios. So where does this leave us with the 75-country visa ban claim? It leaves us exactly where I said at the beginning. There is no such ban in effect. There is no list of 75 countries whose citizens are currently prohibited from obtaining visas or entering major immigration destination countries. Could policies change in the future? Yes. Could certain countries face additional restrictions or requirements? That's possible. Should you stay informed and prepared? Absolutely. But should you panic based on unverified claims circulating on social media? No. Should you make major life decisions based on rumors? No. Should you assume the worst without checking official sources? No. What you should do is focus on what you can control. Maintain your legal status, keep your documents current, stay informed through official channels. Build your life with intention and care. Pursue the highest level of immigration status you're eligible for. Consult with professionals when needed. Support your family and friends with accurate information rather than spreading panic. And remember that millions of immigrants before you have navigated uncertainty and change and have built successful lives in their new countries. Immigration is always going to be a topic of discussion and debate. Policies will always be reviewed and sometimes adjusted. But the fundamental systems and processes that govern legal immigration are not dismantled overnight by rumors or isolated proposals. Your valid visa is still valid. Your permanent residence is still permanent. Your citizenship is still citizenship. And if you're planning to apply for any of these things, the official requirements on the official government websites are what matter, not the rumors on social media. I hope this video has given you clarity. I hope it's helped you understand the difference between speculation and law, between proposals and actual enforceable policy. I hope it's given you some peace of mind if you were worried. And I hope it's reminded you that accurate information is your best protection against fear and misinformation. If you found this video helpful, I need you to do something for me. Subscribe to Immigration News today so you can get regular, accurate, fact-based information about immigration policies and changes as they actually happen, not as they're rumored to happen. Turn on your notifications so you don't miss important updates. Give this video a like if it helped clear up confusion. Share it with your family members, your friends, your community members who might be worried about this 75-country visa ban rumor. Help us fight misinformation with facts, and leave a comment below. Tell me what other topics you want me to cover. What other rumors need to be addressed? What immigration questions keep you up at night? This channel exists to serve you, to give you reliable information in uncertain times, and to help you make informed decisions about your immigration journey. Thank you for watching, and remember, stay informed, stay legal, and stay hopeful.